Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for everyone for having me here. I'm here to talk about Shock the Future. I guess I'm the last of the academic deans coming to talk about how the Shock the Future program impacts our colleges. But while I have your attention, I'm going to hijack the moment to talk about a couple of other little exciting things that are happening in the college, and I'll get to Shock the Future in just a second. So one of the things Kevin was talking about was all the incoming scholarship recipients, and this is that time of year where we are bringing in new Shockers. Tomorrow, we're announcing the WALLACE Scholar Shockers, the WALLACE Scholar recipients. So WALLACE Scholars is a competition for engineering students. It's a legacy of over 350 alumni. It's the highlight of the College of Engineering. I encourage you to come tomorrow to see those 14 amazing individuals that we're bringing in and get to know them. They do extraordinary things. Later today, after this briefing, we're going to release a press release announcing a new graduate certificate in additive manufacturing. This is something that we're going to make a lot of noise about because it is a direct response. It is a deliberate and purposeful response to local industry needs. So academic progress happens on time frames that are not always consistent with outside needs. We tried to speed that up. We tried to be very deliberate in developing a degree program that will tie to what our industrial partners are asking for. So of course, additive manufacturing is revolutionizing all of manufacturing these days. The ideas behind engineering design process are being revolutionized. And so in the past, when someone was designing a component or a product, you had to think about not only does it achieve the mission for what it does, but is it buildable? Additive manufacturing and 3D printing, whether you're using polymers or whether you're using metals, take away that constraint. And so that design process has changed. And so we have to train people to rethink the way they have developed products. We have to train people to understand the strengths and weaknesses of these different materials and the different technologies that are out there. And these technologies are changing every day. I mean, just last week or 2 weeks ago, Koch Disruptive Technologies announced a huge investment in Desktop Metal, which is a company that's on the forefront of this, and these sort of announcements are happening all the time. It's a graduate certificate, and a graduate certificate is sort of a new degree product, if you will. They've been around for increasingly over the past decade. A grad certificate is essentially half a master's degree, so it's usually about 12 to 15 credits, and they are usually used for two purposes. They're used as an add-on, sort of an area of specialization for someone who's in a master's or a doctorate program to say that I have this specific expertise. Or they're increasingly used as a standalone. And so we think that in our additive manufacturing certificate, we'll see students in both populations. So our existing students who are a master's student in industrial, aerospace, mechanical, even in electrical, that they would want this area of specialization where they could sort of show that they have this expertise and get that expertise. But we also see that it's going to be a place for people who have been working in manufacturing for a long time who need to sharpen their skills because technology is changing and they'll want to come. So this is exciting. We're very excited. We intend to continue to make sure that we align our degree offerings and our educational program offerings with local needs, and this is sort of a first step in that. Okay, but why I'm here, Shock the Future. So I try not to walk around, I like to walk around. The College of Engineering part of Shock the Future is related to applied learning. And so of course, WSU wants to be the international model for applied learning, and we're doing a really good job in doing that. And that's never more true than in our aerospace engineering program. So, of course, this is an aerospace town. We have a long and storied aerospace program, and our aerospace engineering students do amazing work. And we have 3 different wind tunnels in the College of Engineering that our students regularly use. So this is a picture of the 3-foot by 4-foot low-speed wind tunnel. And we have 2 supersonic wind tunnels as well that are in a room adjacent to this one. Our students in their senior design capstone project, they will design, build, and fly an airplane. And they use this tunnel as part of that process. They use these tunnels in other courses as well. And they are physically located in what we call the Wallace Hall Annex. So sort of behind Wallace Hall, in the space between Wallace Hall and Beggs Hall. And unfortunately, the foundation in this space is starting to settle. And it's leading to very pronounced cracks in the wall. And these cracks have sort of a high, oh my gosh, value, but they're actually not that critical. They're just sort of highlighting the structural changes that are happening in the settling of the foundation. But the real problem is that the wind tunnel is built into the floor. And as it settles, it's creating gaps. And wind and air is getting into the wind tunnel in unexpected ways, and it's affecting the ability of the wind tunnel to give measurements at the same level of precision that's given in the past. So this is really a disruptive challenge for us. We've been trying to fix it with not metaphorically, but with duct tape and things that we can sort of cram in there and seal it back up, but it has to be resolved. And so the Shock the World component Shock the Future component for the College of Engineering is to do the structural repairs to the Wallace Hall Annex that would prevent the foundation from settling even further and restore the utility back to the wind tunnel. We've been talking a lot about Shock the Future. I've had multiple town halls. I've been meeting with students in every opportunity I can to educate them, inform them what they're being asked to vote upon. And a very common question that I have from engineering students is, why should I vote for this given the relatively small component of what's happening in the College of Engineering relative to the whole $38 million ask? And that's a very good question. And what I try to make sure that people understand is that the College of Engineering has done very, very well in infrastructure over the last decade. We have 2 new buildings. We have the Experiential Engineering Building. We have the P2, so the new Partnership 2 building where the Dean's Office Suite is, and our Engineering Student Success Center. We're in the process of restoring Wallace Hall, doing some very nice cosmetic upgrades to, we've already done the first floor, we're doing the second floor, and we're going to start the third floor this summer. So these things have been happening over the last few years independent of Shock the Future, and a lot of them have required a lot of university investment. And so for me and for the engineering student point of view in particular, I think that it's important to think about what of the overall investments being made in a larger context. We've done quite well, and this is our opportunity to share that with some of the other areas that need to see infrastructure improvements as well. And then I will add, of course, improvements to the library, improvements to Clinton Hall, which will be related to student success, and a lot of the student focus functions that we have on campus benefit us all. I'm going to leave you with this sort of blurry picture. And this is a picture of pictures on a bulletin board just adjacent to that 3-foot by 4-foot wind tunnel that I showed you to begin with. This is sort of a hall of fame, if you will, of people who've come through the aerospace engineering program and have used students as they were using these wind tunnels over, from the 80s, 90s, and on. And as you look at some of these yellowed old photos and start pointing people out, the chair of aerospace engineering, Dr. Miller, was doing this for me recently. One is senior VP at Boeing. Another is a VP at Boom Aviation. Another is a test pilot. These people have gone on and done amazing things, and that highlights and that testifies to the strength of our aerospace engineering program. And my goal, my priority is that we be able to continue to provide those really meaningful experiences to our students so that the students that we have now and the students that we will have in the future can be able to do the same thing going forward.